There are two very trendy things happening on YouTube right now. Number one, iPhone X reviews using Emojis. Just anything iPhone X related is blasted all over my subscription box. Number two, cheap versus expensive videos. There's cheap versus expensive hotel rooms, cheap versus expensive swimsuits, guessing which Halloween costumes are cheap versus expensive. It is all over where people love watching them, and that's probably why you clicked on this video, and also probably why you should give this video a like. This little sucker, my beloved iPhone X that I've had for about 3.5, almost 4 years now. This you can find for 150 bucks at like Best Buy or Amazon, or retails for $150 now, which is crazy to me. You can actually buy it for that much. Part of the reason why this is only 150 bucks is because I got the 16 gig version. Why no one told me that 16 gigs is unrealistic for an iPhone, don't know. I've had the low storage notification on my screen every day of my life for the past 1.5 years, so I'm so ready to jump on 256 gigs. This wonderful doodad is an iPhone X.
Listen everyone, I am keenly aware it is called the iPhone 10, not the X. I only make the mistake once. If it bothers you that much, go do some yoga. Thanks.
The iPhone X, obviously, you all know that. You can see because of this notch, and this retails for, as you all know, $1,150. What do you get in this iPhone for 10 times the cost of this iPhone? We'll see right here. The first thing I want to look at with you all is, of course, the camera. I think this is the main reason why anyone even buys an iPhone in the first place. Maybe I'm just speaking on behalf of all millennials, but truly the camera quality is why people upgrade their iPhones. I think that's the number one reason why people decide to bump up the next year and get the next model, is because they see the added capacity of the camera. So let's see, what's the difference? Is this camera 10 times as good as this one? Let's swipe up and take some photos, shall we? We'll use my mom's roses as a good backdrop. Initial observations, the iPhone 10 does live photos, which I know the iPhone 7, 8, and 10 all do that, but iPhone 6, that's only 150 bucks, does not do that. Not a crazy necessary feature, but you know, does come in handy. iPhone 6, it's not doing any portrait mode. iPhone 10, not only is it doing portrait mode on the back camera, it's doing on the front camera. You all know you're able to change the filters. Let's take a selfie for good measure. Wow, this is a lot of Catherine happening right now. Okay, and now let's do portrait mode, and you can see the difference between the quality. It is very plainly aware at this point how much better this camera is. I'll let you decide if it's worth 10 times the price. Alrighty. Selfies are done. Let's move on to the video. Every YouTuber's necessity. One thing to note for sure is the iPhone 6 doesn't do video stabilization like the iPhone 10 does, and I can tell you right now, that's gonna make a big difference. Also, ordinarily I wouldn't be doing vertical video, but for the purpose of this video, it works, okay? So don't judge me. Now let's step into some action shots, see how those happen. Oh man. You can tell the iPhone 10 is like an unreal image quality. It is so crisp. I may live in Silicon Valley and I may have watched already 20 videos with the iPhone X, but I cannot remember the exact terminology here. Basically a dual camera, so it's much more powerful than this little buggy, which looks like it's from 2006 at this point, but it's not. It's from like, what, 2015? 2014? I think 2014. Camera quality aside, let's talk about the size of these phones in their own right. These don't actually feel that different in my hands. They're not a crazy different size. You can tell like the 6 is just a bit shorter, but in terms of actual screen real estate, which is a term I love, the screen real estate is obviously much bigger. I would say probably 20 to 30% bigger on this lovely doodad. I'm pretty impressed with what they were able to accomplish with this size of this phone. I personally like being able to not have to use a pop socket on my phone to be able to hold it. I like the fact that this is pretty much the same size as the 6, but I get more screen and obviously a much better screen, a much more vibrant screen. So to me, size-wise, I'm very impressed with what they were able to do with this iPhone 10. Again, bringing it back to the price point, which is the core of this video, don't think the screen real estate itself is worth the 10x price point, but certainly to me, when you're looking at the 8 versus the 10, I think this is pretty spectacular that you can get the size of like an 8 Plus screen with the actual size of like an iPhone 6 essentially. What I am most needy about with Apple is battery life. I am out and about all the time, and especially when I'm at my very frequent Disneyland trips, I need a phone that's able to keep up with me. I don't want to have to bring a chunky external charger with me everywhere I go, which is what I had to do with the 6. I brought an external charger with me wherever, whenever, and actually, I should say, not only did I buy this phone upright for like $500 or $600 initially, I also paid for an $150 battery, I believe, about 2 years into its lifespan because it just could not hang. In my day or so with this phone, I have been pretty impressed with the battery life. I don't have to put it on low battery mode. Then again, it is day one. I know the battery kind of degrades over time and loses its hold, but for me, I can just tell with the amount that I use this phone and the amount that it's on, and the battery life on this is pretty wild. On the sort of physical side of the phone, how are the speakers? Let's take a look at the 6. So there we are. Clearly you can tell I've banged up this one quite a bit. There is just this little amount of speaker right here on the right side. The big old 10, double whammy speakers on both sides. They're not kidding around with this. And I'm expecting that the speakers are a lot more powerful here. So let's go. I'm putting them both on full volume, and let's have Sam Smith test this out, shall we? Not sure if this little camera picked that up, but to me this was almost twice as loud as the 6, so I would count the speakers as a pretty killer part of this phone. Next up, another reason why I really wanted to upgrade and actually invest in this phone was because I expected the speed and the processing power to be killer. Like, this phone is so slow. If I see anything bizarre happen in San Francisco, which happens every single day to me, the time that it takes me to open Snapchat and actually get to the camera recording and take a video, that person or that crazy has already walked off. Like, it's so slow. So I'm gonna show you here, and we're gonna open Snapchat at the same time and see which one opens up quicker. I'm gonna go ahead and say the iPhone 10 was almost, a second faster at opening up Snapchat, which again, it's not a vital ability, but when you're a vlogger, it's something very important to me, and I'm impressed by how quick this is. Again, it is day one, so I'm sure it will slow down, but already just like crazy fast. Obviously, we gotta talk about the way you log into these phones. That's a major reason why people upgrade, is that they thought the facial recognition was a really cool addition. Versus obviously we still have a home button here. That is what you click to turn on the phone. When it comes time to actually unlock it, you press the home button, or you can put in your fingerprint, and that'll take you into the phone. Versus this one, you have to touch nothing, you just scan your face. Some people are freaked out by that. I am personally excited by it. I think it's incredible. I know it hasn't worked 100% of the time for everyone, but that's next level. That's the kind of thing I expect a phone that's over $1,000 to be able to do, so I'm glad that Apple stepped it up and gave us some reason to go ahead and invest in this thing. Obviously, we gotta look at aesthetics. I don't think anyone's upgrading their phone just for the pure purpose of it just looking cooler hardware-wise. All of us put cases on them. They don't look crazy different, although I will say, when you look at these two phones, like just purely on a level here, like, they don't even look related. One of these is adopted. Like, these look so crazy different to me because of, first of all, the white exterior here and the fact that this is just a full screen. We got the notch up top. But when it comes to time to look at the back as well, like, this is such a cool reflective surface, as you can see, versus this one is just matte with a reflective finish here. I was never especially a fan of the double bar here on the iPhone 6, and I think they continued out with the 7 if I'm not mistaken, versus this one is just so clean. I almost don't want to put a case on it, but obviously I will, because when you're paying this much for a phone, you're not gonna want it to be shattered. I would say the 10 looks the part. It does look like a luxe phone, and that is exactly what it is. Last thing we gotta look at before the sun goes down here, you can all see on my phone, it's sunset hour here. What makes this phone so extra? There are capabilities you can't even compare between these phones just because they are years different. And I'm talking about Emojis. There's no comparable thing to even reference on this. There's no like sweet, cool, unique feature of the 6 that isn't already included in the 10. So I'm just gonna show you the Emoji feature. Baby, you're making me crazy. I don't know the rest of the words to this song. Baby, you're making me crazy. I don't know the rest of the words to this song. The sun is officially down, which is my cue to turn off this camera, play around more with my iPhone 10, try to justify why I spent that much money on a phone, but also there was no way I was putting up with this anymore. I don't know if you can tell, but it's extremely cracked and chipped and everything. I was ready for this upgrade. I am curious for you all, which feature do you think makes this phone worth the money? Or why do you think this is not worth the $1,150 that I did indeed pay for it? Go ahead and subscribe as well. As always, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, and Katherout.